Hi, Tanya. Thanks again for hopping on. I really appreciate you making time for this. How are you?
Hey, no problem at all. I'm good. I'm really glad we are able to connect. I'm in Paris right now, studying abroad, so I'm having a lot of fun traveling every weekend and stuff. I've also been trying to stay on top of a few last minute logistics before I start my internship, forms, onboarding, that kind of thing. Also trying to sneak in as much relaxing as I can before the chaos starts, you know?
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. I feel like the weeks before like an internship seem like this weird limbo. But are you done with your finals yet?
Yeah, I just wrapped up my finals last week, thank goodness. I'm just enjoying the last few days of being in Paris before I go home and before the semester ends. It's very surreal knowing that in a few weeks I'll be jumping into the consulting world and starting my internship. It hasn't fully hit me yet, but I am excited.
Yeah. I mean, it seems like it could be exciting. I'm like pretty nervous too. How are you feeling about starting?
Honestly, kind of mixed. 60 excited, 40, what if I forget how to use like basic things like Excel?
Mhm.
But mostly, I've just been really grateful for this opportunity. I've had a lot of conversations with people in the consulting space, and everyone's told me how much I'll learn, all the amazing people I'll meet, and especially in terms of thinking structurally and communicating clearly. So I'm just trying to go in with a learning mindset and soak up as much as I can, but I'm really excited for a new change of pace over the summer.
Makes sense. That makes sense. Have you like done anything to prepare for that or like for the internship or are you just like taking a break? I mean, I feel like you earned it.
Yeah, a little bit of both. I've been doing some light prep, just so I can be prepared because I've been studying abroad this whole time. But
Mhm.
that just consists of like mostly reading up on industries I might be working in, brushing up on my mental math, and just like basic networking skills. A mentor of mine actually suggested practicing breaking down news articles into case style frameworks, which has been actually kind of fun and also really helpful. But I've also been trying to let myself relax because I know the hours are going to pick up once the training starts. So I'm just trying to soak in the last few days I have here in Paris.
Yeah. I mean, that makes sense. That's smart. What do you think? What made you decide that you want to do consulting? Because like I feel like it's kind of hard at this point to try to I mean, for you're further along in the process, obviously.
Right.
From where I am, it's a little hard to figure out what exactly it is within business you want to do. So what made you decide on consulting?
Yeah, great question. Great question. I think a lot of college freshmen are also in the same mindset as you, but I think for me, it was the idea of structured problem solving with an actual purpose. I've always loved strategy and problem solving, not in the corporate buzzword sense, but in the what's the root cause and how do we untangle this sense.
Mhm.
Consulting felt like a good way to build that skill set while also exploring different industries. And the people I met during recruiting were honestly just really sharp and kind. And that actually made a big difference. Just meeting so many new people, and everyone comes from different backgrounds, and they were all really smart and very helpful throughout the entire process.
Yeah, that makes sense. Did you hear about the field through somebody or like was it something they talked about in classes a lot?
Kind of. At IU, there's definitely a strong community of alumni in consulting, especially in Phi Gamma Nu, my business fraternity. But I first heard about it from an upperclassman who had interned at Bain and spoke at a club meeting. It sounded really interesting, so I was very intrigued at first. I started doing coffee chats with different individuals and eventually tried my hand at case prep once I got into the groove of it, which took a while, but I realized I really liked thinking that way and I loved doing case prep like that. And that's kind of how I got into consulting in the first place.
hmm That's awesome. Outside of recruiting in school, what kind of stuff do you like enjoy doing like for fun? Like if it's
Um, y-
like a Saturday and you got no plans at all, what are you doing?
yeah, I love reading books. So since I'm in Paris and especially like just like traveling within Europe, I've had a lot of time like on trains and planes just to read a lot of new books and explore different cultures through that and also get book recommendations from locals here in Paris and also in the different cities I've been exploring.
Mhm.
I also love a good long walk with a podcast or grabbing coffee with a friend. And just being in nature in general. I'm a big hiker, so when I have no plans, like if it's a Saturday, I love finding a good trail near me and getting into the nature. And lately, I've been exploring more food spots around Paris too, and it's been really fun exploring the culture through food.
Hmm. So as like has your like walking and just enjoying nature stuff just been limited to Paris, or have you been like traveling anywhere while you've been abroad? Because I know a lot of people do go to different places while they're abroad.
Yeah, I got to visit a lot of friends and different places. A lot of my friends are studying in Barcelona. A lot of my friends are in Milan. A lot of them are in Florence. So I've been getting to go around, mostly on the weekends, just for a quick weekend trip.
Hmm.
Because it's very easy to travel within Europe. So I've been getting to go to different places and meeting them and just hanging out with them over the weekend, but also exploring their cultures, for like the weekend while I get to go back home to Paris.
Hmm. That's awesome. Did you were they all places where your friends were, or did you go anywhere like aside from that, just like traveling to like new places with your friends?
Um, yeah, I um more now I was going to places where my friends were, but I do want to maybe tack on a short trip after my internship ends,
Hmm.
maybe out west or somewhere I can just hike and unplug for a little bit. During school, I did a semester program that took us through parts of Southeast Asia, which was amazing. And I think that really opened my eyes to how different parts of the world approaches the same challenges.
Hmm.
We spent some time in Vietnam, Thailand, Indonesia, very focused on development and social innovation. And it really changed the way that I think about work. And especially in America, I saw firsthand how complex even the simple solutions are and how important it is to understand local context. And that really stuck with me, even as I started moving more into the private sector roles.
Yeah, that's super cool. I mean, it seems like you kind of have like a really balanced view between like thinking business and also like looking at impact, you know?
Yeah, I'm definitely trying to stay grounded in that. I feel like it's very easy to get swept up in the intensity of consulting or finance, especially being a student in Kelley. But I always try to ask, why does this matter? Why am I really doing this? And who does this affect? And that's definitely a muscle I want to keep building. I want to keep helping people and really doing something because I'm passionate in it.
Hmm. Yeah, no, I feel like having a motivation like that will really serve you well in the long run. But are there any mentors who have helped like shape how you think about your career?
Absolutely. One that comes to mind is a professor I had sophomore year. She taught a class on global inequality and always pushed us to think very structurally. She once said, good intentions aren't enough. You need good design. And that idea really stuck. I've also had a few Indiana University alums who have been very generous with their time. If I reach out to them, and they are very easily able to like hop on Zoom and have a quick 30-minute conversation with me, especially women in consulting who really helped me with the process and reminded me that confidence is built and not born.
Okay, that's fire. Um, so I mean, I have a few more. I have some stuff written down, obviously, for this that I have to get to, but I'm
Hmm.
probably gonna go to those. It's I'll start off with would you be able to walk me through like your career path and how you got to your current position at Dorio?
Yeah, so my career path has been anything but linear, and I think that's pretty common in VC. So I started out doing management consulting
Mhm.
and just really exploring the different parts of consulting because I really wasn't sure what I wanted to do yet. And it felt like a good way to explore different industries and really build a solid toolkit. I
Mhm.
worked on everything from supply chain projects to more customer and consumer brands. It gave me a really strong foundation in how to approach problems, but honestly, I've always been into the entrepreneurial side of the business. Um, and after 2 years, I left and I joined a Series B fintech startup that was building infrastructure for gig workers. That was my first taste of the real startup life. the chaos, the scrappiness, the deep sense of ownership. I was on the operations team, but because it was such a small company, I got exposure to product growth and even fundraising strategy. And I learned so much so quickly, and I met so many cool people
Hmm.
during this, and it really shifted my career trajectory.
Hmm.
But it made me realize I wanted to be on the other side of the table, helping startups grow from an investment and support perspective.
Hmm.
So I applied to a couple fellowships and ended up joining a venture scout program that gave me my first exposure to deal sourcing. And through that, I met a few people who would later become my co-workers and just people I've connected with that are working at the same company this
Hmm.
summer. And it was really great getting to meet these people and getting the industry knowledge that will be very helpful this summer, I'm sure.
That's awesome. Um, what do you think were some like moments or decisions, whether they're like personal moments or just professional, that influenced your path into entrepreneurship and the venture capital space?
Yeah, great question. Honestly, a huge moment for me was deciding to step away from consulting. On paper, it is a very great career, very great job, clear growth path, and very solid pay. But I knew deep down it wasn't my true passion. It took a lot to walk away from that structure, especially since I didn't have a clear next step lined up at the time. But I think that decision helped me started making me trust my gut more and really do what I'm actually passionate about. Um, and another pivotal moment was applying for that venture scout program. I had no real connections at the time, so
Mm-hmm.
imposter syndrome was very real for me. But that opportunity gave me access to a lot of different people, conversations, and
Hmm.
ideas that completely reframe what I thought was possible.
Yeah.
It also showed me you don't need to follow the traditional path of banking. You could come in with different experiences from like operations, and that really helped me shape my career, my oncoming career.
Hmm. Yeah, makes sense. Um, I mean, working at a company like this is obviously a big leap. What would you say is like your role right now at Dorio and what your day-to-day responsibilities are going to look like?
Um, This summer, I will be more involved in both sourcing and supporting companies. So, on the investment side, it's managing deal flow,
Mhm.
reviewing dozens of startups, hopping on to call with the founders, writing up internal memos. On the platform side, running programming from our like Slack channel to like resources, stuff like
Mhm.
that. Every day looks different. So, can't really do a day to day, but
Yeah,
I am
makes
excited
sense.
to, yeah.
Makes sense. Um, what do you think are some of the more challenging aspects of working at a startup or like building a venture-focused company? And how do you think it's going to be to manage those?
I think the biggest challenge will be the uncertainty. I feel like in this field, you have weeks where like amazing things happening, and some weeks where everything feels like it's falling apart. Um, but like managing that really comes down to structure and support,
Mhm.
relying heavily on my systems and just being very organized, and community. I'm in a few peer groups with other people and actually getting up and meeting with each other and like having that support system is really great through this process.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, having a big support system has been like really huge for me as well.
Yeah,
This first year of college. Uh, I mean, obviously, like PGN was big for me because
right.
I mean that's how I met you, and I mean,
Yeah.
people, there's a lot of great people, and it really
Hmm.
helps with just getting acclimated when you're in a new environment. So yeah, I can 100% see where you're coming from regarding that.
Yeah.
Um, what skills or like personal qualities do you believe are most important for someone pursuing a role in startups or venture capital?
I would personally say the top three qualities that I believe are most important are curiosity, empathy, and following through. Curiosity is big. You're constantly learning about new people and technologies, and definitely being more curious will help you learn more. Empathy is equally as important. At the end of the day, startups are run by humans. So being able to put yourself in someone else's shoes is super important. Following through sounds boring, but it genuinely is a superpower in a field where everyone is quote unquote busy, just doing what you said you do, following up on an intro, setting that resource, really builds a reputation that sticks.
Hmm. Yeah, for sure. Do you think that there's any particular tools or like platforms or technology that you rely on in your work with Dorio or with
Uh,
venture stakeholders?
Yeah, we're pretty tool heavy to stay organized. We use Notion for literally everything, deal tracking, portfolio updates, basically everything. And it's really good for just like getting everything in order. Also, obviously, very active on Slack, both internally and with our founders. And we've built a private Slack community where founders can ask questions, share job posts, and even like troubleshoot problems at times. So they're all very helpful for work.
Makes sense. Do you mind if I go get my computer charger real quick? My computer's about to die.
Oh, go ahead.
Thanks. 1 second. Hello. Are you still there?
Yes.
Sorry about that. I needed to get a charger.
No, you're good. Take your time.
What have you been up to today outside of this? Anything interesting?
Um, Nothing really interesting. I've just been going around to a few places around Paris that
Mhm.
I haven't been this semester because I'm about
Yeah.
to come home. So
Mhm.
just soaking up the last few minutes being
Yeah.
here.
Hmm. That's good. When you have any plans when you go home for the summer? Are you going anywhere?
Um, I'm actually planning on going to New Jersey for 4th of July, and I'm really
Oh, really?
excited. Yeah.
Awesome. Where in New Jersey?
Near Princeton,
Oh, that's
I
cool.
think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really excited.
Yeah, I live kind of close to there. It's a nice area.
Uh, Oh, that's fun. That's fun.
Yeah. Anyways, I'll go back to the questions. We got a couple more, almost there. Um, so does Dorio offer any second? Oh, it's just saying I can only record for 10 more minutes, but I think we'll be done. Um,
Okay.
does Dorio offer any internships or opportunities for students to get involved in the venture investing or startup building process?
Yeah, they do. Every summer, there's a small group of interns, usually 2 to 4, depending on the bandwidth that they're focusing on. There's also like semester-long interns during the school year who also work part-time remotely. The internship is very hands-on. The interns are treated like junior team members. Because internships are really a good way to build long-term relationships, and a few of our past interns have gone on to work startups,
Hmm.
join other funds. So it
Yeah.
is yeah, it's very useful.
Okay. Sounds like a good time, and it feels like a good way to build long-term relationships within the company if you're planning on working there after
Right,
college.
right.
Um, what kind of responsibilities or projects will interns typically work on, and what would you say they gain from the experience?
Yeah, from what I know, they typically work on like three big things: deal sourcing, market research, and founder support. This is like researching promising startups in a specific sector and just like reaching out to people, tracking engagement, also diving into emerging trends, like AI in healthcare. And then on the founder support side, it's really helping organizing events and stuff like that. Um, but for the interns, they really gain visibility into how the company works.
Mhm.
They learn how to like vet other companies and communicate professionally, which is really important in the industry.
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds, I mean, that does sound like a really impactful experience. I mean, getting
Yeah,
to work with a company, getting to work with a company like that, I feel like it's a really good way to get really hands-on experience. And obviously, it's a very different set of experience, especially because it's a startup, you know.
right,
And
right.
um, I think it's almost a better experience than you would get at maybe a more established company because you get to see how things work from the bottom up. And
Mhm.
I feel like that's really important too. Really
Right.
understanding like just understanding how a big company works, you know.
Yeah, for
But
sure.
um, I mean, I'm starting to we're almost at the end here, but are there any other professionals in your network that you would recommend that I connect with for like further learning or mentorship in this field?
Yeah, definitely. One person that I think would be helpful for you is Anika Sinha. She is actually a investment banking analyst at Centerview Partners right now,
Hmm.
but she was an analyst for Dorio for about 2 years, for about a year and 10 months, 2 years
Hmm.
in 2020. She has a lot of experience and background in operating and
Hmm.
venture. She's also the sweetest person ever. She's extremely thoughtful
Hmm.
and would probably love talking to you and getting to hear your side.
Yeah, that's awesome. I actually would, if you could send me her contact information later, I
Yeah,
would
of course.
I would be down to reach out to her and hopefully get a chat. But
Of course.
if possible, I mean, uh, well, the next question was, if possible, would you be open to making an introduction or sharing how I could best approach them?
Yeah, like I said, I'd be happy to introduce you to.
Hmm.
Just shoot me an email right after this and I'll forward it along to her and I'll make the
Hmm.
connection. She's
Hmm.
very open to mentoring.
Yeah.
So a 15-30 minute chat whenever she can. I know she's pretty busy. Would be helpful for you. Just come prepared with a few thoughtful questions and I think she would be a great resource for you.
I mean, sounds awesome. Thanks again, Tanya, for talking to me. I know you're pretty busy, and I mean, you're probably trying to enjoy the last couple of days you have in Paris. But it's been really helpful being able to get a clearer picture of what a career in this space kind of looks like. But thank you.
Yeah, of course. You asked great questions, so it was very fun talking to you.
Mhm.
Feel free to keep in touch, and if anything else comes to mind, internships, people to meet, or just to chat, definitely reach out.
All right, thank you. I'll see you
Thank
next
you.
year when you come back, probably.
Yep, yep. Excited for that.
Yes, ma'am. All right, goodbye.
Bye.